How do you ask your ex to get back together with you again? This can actually be a tricky process. The actual conversation itself is not so difficult. We'll get into that more in this video, but it's actually kind of a more complicated situation than it may seem on the surface. Let's go ahead and talk about why that is and what you can do about it. Hey there, it's Clay with modernlove.life. And today we are talking about how to ask your ex to get back together. Now, if you've been around the internet for a bit, you may have seen a few, let's just call them coaches, who are promising you the world and saying that, hey, use this secret NLP hypnosis script and it will make your ex want to get back together with you in 24 hours or less or something like that. I promise you, if there was some sort of thing like that I was aware of, I would be telling you about that. And because of a lot of stuff like this, just send these simple text messages to get your ex back, or use reverse psychology, or, hypnotize them to make them fall in love with you again, all that sort of stuff. It causes people to think that this whole process of getting back together is just a matter of having a simple conversation. I mean, after all, that's probably what your breakup was like. It was like, hey, it's not you, it's me, let's break up or something. And so you think, okay, I just need to have one conversation with them to want them to get back together with me. But I think if we take a step back and look at your relationship, it didn't really fall apart because of one conversation. It's not like your partner was just going along happy and everything was great, and then someday they just got this random thought to just break up with you. No, there was probably something that happened that eroded the relationship over time. And as that problem built up more and more, whatever it was, lack of connection, trust, whatever, it caused them to lose trust in the connection that the two of you have with one another. Remember that, because trust is something that's very important that we're going to be getting back to later on in this video. But it's not just a matter of having one simple conversation. There's a lot going on beneath the surface that we have to put in place first. And I'm going to tell you how to have that conversation later on in this video, so stay tuned. We also want to not just look at what we're saying here, but we also want to look at how our partner feels about the prospect of getting back together. The two of you just broke up recently, and it was some sort of big, blowout kind of thing. They might not be feeling so great about the idea of getting back together with you. And that's understandable. Or they might be kind of on the fence. They could be confused. Maybe they're actually warmed up to it. I don't know. But we have to start thinking about how they are feeling about this whole process, about getting back together. And if they're not feeling very positive about it, then we have to put that in place first before we try to have this conversation with them about getting back together. We have to build up the emotional circumstances first that are going to give them confidence that, hey, getting back together might be a great idea, and trust, again, that this would be a good thing for them before we actually ask them. And this may take some time because, just as we talked about, the emotional connection between the two of you probably didn't just come unraveling, just because they had a wild hair one day and they said, hey, let's break up. It's probably the result of some issues that have been happening in your relationship for a while. But we need to really work on building that emotional connection first so that they can actually start to trust us more, trust themselves more, and trust the connection that they have with us more. And trust, as I'm sure you know, isn't something that you can just flip off and on like a light switch. It takes some time to build up, although it can obviously be torn down very quickly when you find out someone's been, lying to you about something for, a long period of time. So understand that as we work on building this trust, they're going to start to warm up again, okay? So it's going to take some time. You're probably not going to be able to bang this out in 24 hours or less. Sorry to say. But you can do this very quickly once you know the right things to focus on, which again are trust and the emotional connection. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're connecting with them strongly on an emotional level and building that trust. We'll get into that in just a moment here. But when we actually have a good degree of trust between the two of us, that's when we can actually have a commitment conversation with them. And this could go something like, hey, I've really enjoyed connecting with you. Is that something that you felt too? Now, here we're being vulnerable, we're leading first, and then we're asking them if they feel the same way. Chances are they're probably going to say yes if you've actually enjoyed connecting with one another, especially if you phrase it this way. And then you say, well, if I'm being honest, sometimes I think about us getting back together. Is that something that's ever crossed your mind? And again, for a lot of the same reasons, they're probably going to say yes as well too. And at this point, now the two of you are actually talking about the idea of getting back together. They might have some objections or something like that, and obviously talk about those and get through those as you need to. But this is how we actually start to get things moving in the right direction. Now, obviously, this isn't probably something that most of you are going to be able to do today. Unless you've been watching some other videos that we've put out recently and all that sort of stuff. But you're going to probably have to build up this emotional connection first. And if that's something that you need to do, it would be very, very important for you to watch this video series right here on what we call the 5 emotional stages that your ex goes through in getting back together. This is going to explain what's going on with them and their strange behavior so clearly that you're going to understand how to read them like a book. Anyway, check it out over here, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.